Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you how to make a plyometric box that's 20 inches by 24 inches by 30 inches. One thing to note, I'm using one 4x8 sheet of plywood. Now, there seem to be two ways to make these. One is the way that like Rogue and other companies actually make them, where the sides are like puzzle pieces and they interlock together. We're not going to be doing that. We're just going to have rectangular sides on all the sides. My first cut is going to be at 30 inches out, and then I'm going to cut it in half, so that'll make 24 by 30. I recommend just drawing one line at a time, because if you try to draw two, you need to remember that every cut you make, you're going to have to add 1/8 of an inch on because of the curve of the blade. So the blade's about 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's much easier to just draw your first line, make the cut, then put the tape measure on that new edge that you made, and then pull from there to get the dimension. So like I said, first cut, we're coming out 30 inches. We're gonna cut along 30 inches, and then I'm gonna put this on the table saw to rip it down. You could easily just use the circular saw as well to cut it right in half. So 30 inches, right now it's by 48, and then I'm gonna cut it in half, and I'll have two pieces that are 23 and 15/16 by 30. And the reason it's 23 by 15/16 is because it's 48 inches wide. I'm cutting it in half, which is 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna have to take 1/8 of an inch off of that 48 inches. Now if I split it down the middle, then that's only 1/16 from each board. Now we're going to come down for our second cut, which is going to be 18.5 inches. Now how we drawn all these lines first, this line, had I pulled it from the edge, would have needed to be 1/4 inch longer because we made two cuts that were each 1/8 of an inch. So it's just easier, make your cut and then pull from the end, focus on one cut at a time. I don't know if you can tell in the video or not, but my boards, I mean, they're really warped. That's okay. That is okay though, because when we screw it all together, it'll all come together nicely. I mean, look at that. It's like a rocking chair. It'll all come together nicely when we screw it together. It'll be harder to get it together, but it'll stay. Those are our three main pieces, but don't throw this scrap that's left away. We're going to use this scrap and we're going to cut out the center support piece. So keep this, we will make use of it. Our first two cuts on the table saw are going to be the ones where we split the wood in half. So 24, we're going to come in 1/16. If you don't have a table saw, that's totally fine. You can use the circular saw. Just draw a line right down the middle of that 48-inch board. So we're cutting two boards down the middle, the 30-inch board and the 18.5-inch board. So 30 by 48, we're going to cut that in half. And the 18.5 by 48, we're going to cut that in half as well. Check those. Perfect. Perfect. So this third piece is currently 28.5 by 48. This board is going to be inset, which means it loses 1.5 inches on both sides. So we need to cut it, since it's 28.5, we need to cut it to 18.5 inches. same cut again. That scrap at the end of the 4x8 sheet, we're now going to cut it also to 18.5 inches wide because it's going to be the center brace. But while I have the saw set up to 18.5, we're going to go ahead and make that cut. All right, now comes time to put the slots in for the handles, basically. And so that's going to go on your smallest piece, which is 18.5 by 24. It's the smallest side. At least that's where I'm putting them. You can really put them wherever. I'm going to use a hole saw to make 2 circles, and then I'm going to connect them with a jigsaw. You could probably do it a couple other ways. I think this will probably yield the nicest result. First go round, I use a huge hole saw, so I'm going to make it smaller this time. I'm doing 1.5 inches, so I'll put 2 in, and then I'll connect them with the jigsaw. So this plywood was pretty warped, so it's going to take a good bit of work. It'll all straighten out, but it's just going to be a little bit harder than if it wasn't warped. I'm going to start on this short side here. I'm using the countersink bit. You don't have to do that. You can just use the screw and just go all the way in until it's flush. Also, if you want a really nice kind of finish all the way around, what I did also with the handles, what I did is I used an 1/8 inch roundover bit on a router. You can just sand it. It'll be fine. I'm gonna attach 4 sides. So the 4 smaller sides. Then I'm gonna attach one of the big sides, and then I'm gonna put the brace in the middle, and then I'll put the last big side on. Okay, we've got 4 sides together. The 4 shorter sides. We're still missing the long. We haven't put on the 24 by 30 on this side or this side. So we're gonna put one side on. Then we're gonna take the brace, put it in the middle. But we're gonna put one 24 by 30 side on first. Okay, so when you put this on, this piece, this 24 by 30 piece is relatively square. This box that you just assembled is not going to be that square. So I put one side on perfectly straight, and now if you can see, this is about a 1/4 inch in right here. So I'm going to have to push the box out and get it to square. And then as you can see, this piece bows out right here. So I'll push it in until it's flush and probably put a couple screws right here and then keep working it out until I get that side perfectly straight. All right, now that we've got one side on, it's time to put the middle brace in. So this is a 30-inch long box, so we'll mark it right at 15 for the middle. The inside of the box, this is 3/4 inch plywood, so we'll come in 3/8 from that. So let's see here. So if we come in 3/8 from that, we're right about 14. So mark 14 on the inside. That way we know it's nice and straight. Go back to that 24 by 30 side. Now we know that 15 inches will hit the center. Let's put a few screws in there. Right at 15. Do the same thing on the skinny side. Okay, nice and sturdy. 5 of the sides on. Middle support, which is now screwed in on 3 sides. Take our last 24 by 30 sheet. Lay it on. Screw it in. And that's it. We're finished with the box. If you want to sand down the edges, you can do that. I'm going to use a router. I'm going to do an 1/8 inch round over on all the sides, but you don't need to do that. Maybe just give the corners a nice little sanding. But that's it. It's really simple. You can make a $150 box for a $30 sheet of plywood and maybe a few hours time, and you'll have yourself a box. It's pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching. If you got any suggestions for me or things that I missed that I could do better, please let me know. Thanks for watching Break It Yourself, and we'll see you next time.